Well, welcome, Outliers, to another live training session with my friend and fellow Alpha University graduate, Dave Williams. As we mentioned in our last training live, Dave is our resident expert when it comes to Thinkorswim. Now, Dave, I am not a strong Thinkorswim user. I'm pretty new to the tool. Really, all I do is I'll look up tickers, I'll look up contracts, I'll buy contracts and roll them. But as far as creating indicators, no, I use TradingView for that. So I'm really interested to see what you've come up with here, and maybe you can run us through some settings there after you give us the intro, and we can see just how to set this up and also where to get it.
You bet. So this is a combination of multiple indicators that we've created over time as Ovtlyr has evolved, as our trading styles have evolved, to kind of incorporate a bunch of things in. I'm calling it the DW because, you know, DT's got his super indicator. I'm calling it the DW super indicator. And of course, we have it on the Discord in the frequently asked questions under the Thinkorswim module. And what I wanted to do is just kind of walk through, most importantly, the settings, because there's a bunch of settings. I intended to design this to be very customizable. So you can go in and change all the labels. You can change the ATRs. You can change pretty much everything to suit your trading style. Okay, not just mine, not somebody else's, but your trading style. And that's really key with this. So right now I'm going to walk through just a couple of features we see on the screen, and then we're going to get into the settings and kind of talk about what's happening behind the scenes. So right off the bat, you're going to see the order blocks. They're green and they're red. So the green is our support order blocks. The red is our resistance, our overhead order blocks. And I did color code these very specifically just because I wanted them to show, okay, what is a level of support? What is a level of resistance? I didn't want multiple colors. I wanted to keep things as clean as possible. That is actually one of the very few settings that is not customizable in this script. Pretty much everything outside of that is, though. So that's the good news. I have it as a gray shading here. This is our value zone. So this is our value zone indicator that overlays everything. And right now I'm looking at the SPY. So we're looking at today's SPY. It's a daily chart right up here. If you're not overly familiar with Thinkorswim, this gives you a choice for drop downs for different time frames. And right now we're on the day chart. Now, while we're here, let me show you something. If you go to the 5-minute chart, you're going to notice everything doesn't work anymore. And there's a reason for that. We did not want the options, the sizing, position sizing spreadsheet, especially to run under the different time frames. If we did that, it's going to cause errors. It's going to cause errors in calculations. In other words, you could be looking to go in and buy something, inadvertently put yourself into a 10-minute or 15-minute view, and the position sizing is no longer accurate. So if you're not on the daily chart, it will not show. So that's important. Now, we have the 3 EMAs, and the default to these, and you can change these colors. We have the 10-minute, or the 10 period, the 20 period, and the 50 period EMAs on the chart right here. You can go in and change those colors to whatever colors you like. I keep it simple. To me, a traffic light color pattern works great for this. And, you know, it just makes things a lot easier. Up on the top, we got a lot of labels. You're going to see the first one here, and you can make that go away, that the user accepts responsibility. Sorry, we live in a litigious world. I got to put in a disclaimer there. But then you're going to see the trade direction. And right now, the trade direction is long. You can change that to short. Now, this is important because when the market flips, when we go the other way, when you choose short, all of your ATRs are going to automatically reverse. So it will calculate on the other side. So with one click of a button, all your ATRs instantly reverse, which is great. You got the number of shares based on your position size, and then you have the number of contracts as well based on your position size, the calculator that you want to use. So we've got a lot of good things built in here. It also has a pop-up label for the value zone active. And when we talk into the customization, you're going to see you can not only change these labels, you can remove them. So you can make this whatever you want it to be. So let's jump into the settings here. So you got two ways to do this. You've got a studies button over here, which gives you a drop down and you can go in and edit, or you can just click the little flask right here and it gives you the settings anyways. We're going to go into the DW super indicator. Excuse me. And first things first, let's turn off and accept the waiver. So as soon as we do that, click OK, and I'm going to apply. You'll notice that blue label over here just disappeared. So, that's just something we got to have in there. Because we no longer are doing, and you're going to see pop-ups come in because there's other scripts running here. Because we're no longer doing Plan A, Plan M is the only active one that's in there, and that's been set up and changed. So Plan M is the only one that's available on the public version. This is a little behind-the-scenes version. You're going to go in and enter your account size. So if you have an account size, let's say it's 150,000, you're going to enter that in, and you're going to enter in your risk percentage. So let's say you want to do 2.5% risk. 2.5, you're long, and you prefer 80 delta options. Now, this is critical because this is how you're going to calculate the position size. So let's go in. I'm just going to click the button here, and we're going to apply. And now we can see that the position sizing just changed. So now we're only at 287 contracts. We're at 287 shares, 4 contracts at that level. So it went through and it just changed the math. So this part is now set. Now, you have a choice here for order blocks. You can turn order blocks on and off. So right there, I just clicked the button and the order blocks fell off. We can turn them back on. So you can choose whether you want things to display or not. I will say right now, don't touch the look back or the sensitivity. We have found these settings to be the best overall. This is kind of the best way we have found to use the order block. So 10 and 28, just leave it there. You have another choice here for showing of the value zone. So yes or no, very simple. You want the value zone on there. If you do, great. If you don't, great, turn it off. But then we also have the label. So you can turn the value zone off on the chart and still have, no, it just took my label off. I might have a glitch I have to fix. I think I have a glitch I have to fix. You can take the label off right now. Yep. You can take the label off, but the value zones still have to be on. That's a glitch we'll have to take a look at to fix. But you've got the value zone there. Now, the value zone, as we come down, you can choose how long you want the value zone to be in the script here. You also have your ATR, the value zone ATR multiplier. So let's say you don't like 3. That doesn't work for you. You want a multiplier of 2.5 ATR. You can click the button, and now the value zone just dropped to the 2.5 ATR as measured from the 20 EMA. So again, you can customize this to your rules. I actually prefer 2.5 personally. I think personally I've seen if it gets to 3, it's getting a little overextended. So that's just my preference, my style of trading.
Well, that's good to know. So if someone back tests their trades in their own plan and they want to change the stretch from the 20 EMA, that's where you do it. Thanks, Dave.
Exactly. Now, we have our EMA lengths here. Now, this labeling is a glitch. This is a hard glitch, actually, that exists in Thinkorswim. There's no way to get around calling it an EMA. So it is an EMA and then length 1, 2, and 3. And this ties back into our green, yellow, and red EMAs. So, we've got that available there. Now, to change the color in these, because these are plots, you actually have to come down to the bottom here to the plot, and you can change EMA 1 color, EMA 2, or EMA 3, and you can just change it. If you don't like straight lines, you can make them dashed. So I can go in, I can make the red dash just as quick, or you can change to whatever setting you prefer. So we'll go back because I prefer the straight lines for that. I use dashed lines for other things. You've got that there. Now, there are other labels down here, like the bearish, the bullish order block top line. You can change the line colors on the order blocks. You just can't change the order block color themselves, but that's something that's hard coded and it needs to stay in there. So, but the EMAs are available to be changed down below. Now we come into the position sizing. So we have a yes or no to change the number of shares, but more importantly, I can change the color. So I can go in and I can make my shares over here, I can make that green. And now it's bright green. And I can make it, whatever color I want. I want to make it red. Apply. And I can make it red. Now, this is important, especially for people running white screens. If you're running white background charts, this white label here isn't going to work for you. Thinkorswim's text on the charts is clear, okay, just to make it difficult for everybody. So if you use a white label, guess what? It's going to be clear. You're not going to see your data come through at all. So that was something that is kind of an odd thing, but it's just built into the programming. So personally, I always recommend use the black. I like the darker screen anyways, or use blue or use some other color, and it'll come through your labels a little bit better. But some people are also colorblind. So, this helps kind of change those things around. Let's put it back to the light green. So we have a color. Same thing here with the show the number of contracts. So we have, a simple yes or no. If you only trade shares, you can turn this off. You don't need it. You can make it orange. Now, this is where it gets interesting for the ATR labels. You can call this whatever you want. Right now, I have a -2 ATR exit. I can change this label to Dave's having a bad day. Okay. I can apply that. And now I've got a label that says Dave, I misspelled it. Dave is having a bad day. Okay. So we made this customizable here. You can use whatever ATR you want. More importantly, you can change the label color. So you can go in, you can change the order. I always prefer, when I set up my charts, when I go through and do my charting real quick, I always drag a line real quick. I use my purchase price. And then I go and I enter in my exit price. So I always jump in and go from purchase, I drop down, I hit my exit. And then from there, I come across my labels. I have my first roll, I have my 1 ATR, I have my 2 ATR, and I have my 3 ATR. And in my case, I've color coded these labels because that matches the colors that I use for the lines on the chart. And that just makes things super, super easy for me when I go through and do this. So you've got 5 ATR labels that you can use. As I said, you can turn them on and off. So if you don't want all 5, you only want 1, you want 2, you can have 2. And you can label them whatever you want. We have the defaults in here, but you get to go through and just label them as you want. Now, one thing I also have included is we have a fixed ATR value here, and that is the ATR. And this is calculated based on the previous day's close. And I did that because then that gives you a clean 14 days because you don't know when you're going to be taking the trade for the new trade. You could be taking it at, 30 minutes after the market opens. Well, your ATR values, they're still trying to average everything together. They may not be quite in alignment, but if you fall back to the close of the day before, then you have a clean 14 days to base that ATR on, and you end up with, I think, a better outcome overall. So those are the overall labels that I use that, it just, for me, this is what works. But as you can see, that it's highly, highly customizable.
That is really cool, Dave. You put a lot of thought into these labels, especially, and how you're linking the colors with the charts themselves. That's awesome.
And let me show you real quick here what I do, because one of the things we looked at is trying to include in an indicator that would draw the lines automatically. And there are a couple out there. I don't like them because they start cluttering the entire chart up. It adds even more data. What I do is I come down here to my drawing tools in the low right corner. In this case, I click on the price tool, and this is the beauty of it. Okay, I'm going to click here for today. Now notice I'm below the value of the line. I'm going to edit this, and I'm going to say purchase. And I'm going to look, and we're just going to use the closing for the day. So I'm going to look, and it is 681.76. Done. Now I'm going to do the same thing. Edit. I'm going to come in here. Here is my -2. Come on. -2 ATR. I'm going to make it red. And my -2 is 668.70. Right off the labels. We're going to come in here, and I can draw these lines anywhere. Here's the roll. So we're going to make this green. It is already green, 685.03. Come on. Here's one ATR, and we're going to be at 688.29. I always like to make that blue. This is just my preference because that way I can just look at a chart and I can see where I am. The color coding is uniquely mine that way. So 2 ATR, 694.82. That becomes white. And the next one is that cayenne again. 3 ATR, and it is 701.35. And just that quick, I drew all the lines I needed for any trade that I took. Now, the beauty is, as long as I get the price line in quickly, I can back up. I can use that ATR value over here, and I can run the math myself later. So even if, all I can have time to do is just get a quick purchase on there, I can do the basic math and say, okay, well, I need 2 times this ATR value and then subtract that from the price, and here is our exit.
I've actually had to go back and do that ATR calculation in trading view in the past, just in the past couple of days, because we've had some really good Plan M rolls. That getting into the 3 ATR and the 4 ATR rolls has been fantastic. But I found that I didn't have enough lines on my chart to know where my roll points were. So that's great to see that you can go in there and add these in later.
Exactly. Now, one thing I will say, what I do is if I take the roll, let's say I held it and I did the roll. We're going to activate this now. Now I can drag it. Let's say I did the roll here. Okay. I will probably go in, I'll delete my 1 ATR, and I will put a new roll point, or I will adjust the 2 ATR. I will put a new line in when I go through and do that for a new 1 ATR or whatever metric happens to work. But the beauty here is, once the lines are established, all you have to do is activate. You can drag them around to whatever price you want, just park them there, or you can use the labeling system that I use to go ahead and just identify the hard metrics of that. But it really does work well. Really
okay,
does.
cool. So that's another way that you've customized your plan to deviate from Chris's a little bit. So he wouldn't go in and change any of the roll points because he established those on the individual trades when you set them. But for your plan, you've seen that changing the roll points also affects the next future roll point as well. That's interesting.
It potentially will. So one of the things I'll look at is if I roll in the morning, I will not roll again until the absolute end of the day. I want to let it run. I don't want to roll if I hit a next magical ATR, because then, if I have a pullback, I'm going to see red, and I don't like red at all. I'm going to let it run up and then find whatever point makes sense. And then I may establish that as a new roll point. So, okay, let's add another 1 ATR on this, and then we'll come out on the next one at another 1 ATR now.
Now,
But
Dave, are you familiar with the pattern day trading and how that would be affected by multiple rolls within one day on the same contract?
yeah, so pattern day trading rules right now are changing. I forgot to give my little caveat. None of this is financial advice, period. This is all for entertainment value only, period. Don't take anything ever I'm saying as financial advice. So there's my disclaimer. The pattern day trading rule is proposed to change. It's making its way through committee right now in multiple different committees. They're taking the dollar amount from $25,000 down to $2,000 for day trading. Minimum in your account, but the individual brokers have the right to adjust that higher should they see additional risk needs to do so. So it's going to depend on the individual brokers, where they land, where they park that number. But yes, going in and, the problem is going to be on your second roll of a day, because now you have bought the equity, the derivative, the options contract, and you have sold it in the same day. That does trigger a pattern day trade on that item.
Okay.
So if you're in a smaller account, you're subject to pattern day trading. You may want to wait and trade the next day, make your roll the next day.
Yeah.
It's just something each trader has to decide for themselves. Is it worth that one day hit for, losing one of your day trades? And you have 3 freebies in a 5-day trading period. So most brokers, all brokers, should have a counter that runs all the time, so you can see exactly how many you have left at any one point in time. And, it's just good to know, basically where you're at with that.
Mm-hmm.
But unless you're right now in an account under $25,000 and with margin, you are subject to the pattern day trading rules. And then hopefully in another, month or two, we'll see a change to that happen. And then the individual brokers have to figure out where they're going to land on that.
Okay. Awesome. Yeah, I didn't know those rules were changing. So thanks for that, Dave. Awesome.
Yeah, they did put it out. There's a lot of, as you'd expect, there's a lot of controversy over it right now. The pattern day trading rule is really intended to, at the end of the day, be a risk management tool. They don't want people trading, repeatedly throughout the day. It puts the brokers at risk because they're loaning out. They're on the margin side. They're loaning all of that out, for you to be able to do that. So it puts them at risk, but it's also, kind of intended to slow some people down and be a little more circumspect in their trading. Not trade 1,000 contracts in a day, trying to make 10 cents each time so they can go make $100.
Yeah.
We all know people that have done that. There's
Mm-hmm.
a lot of the futures traders that scalp that way, and they're scalping in seconds. And futures actually is not even subject to pattern day trading. Futures is exempt.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And
which is why a lot of people do it. But yeah, they'll do 200, 300, 400 contracts in a day, and they'll make a couple bucks each time. And man, my time's worth more than that.
Yeah. If you're not familiar with futures as an outlier, that's not something that we see Chris trade at all. So you'll see him trade ETFs. He'll do shares of ETFs. He'll do options contracts, but he's never shown trading futures. So in summary, futures is a leveraged asset. You can trade it multiple times a day. There's not settlement. But I personally tried it. I personally found out that I can't do it. And so I skipped it.
Not everybody could. Not everybody could. I was down in all of the equities today, but I was up in the futures. But futures trading is not for everybody. The risk of loss is exponentially bigger. There is no stopgap short of a stop, a stop limit order. And the problem is futures can move so fast on news. And I have seen this happen. Thankfully, I was on the right side of the equation where it comes down and it triggers your stop. Now, on the equity side, we'd say, great, we're out at within a penny of that. On the future side, man, if it's really dropping fast due to news, there may not be another buyer there. And you may be $10, $20, $30 away before your market order finally hits, because it converts the limit order to a market order to take you out. And if something moves fast, man, it could go away.
Yeah.
I'll just tell you an example of one trade I was in back in April-ish. I saw an impulse wave come in. Trump made an announcement. ES futures, which is the SPY futures, shot straight up. I clicked the buy button because I was ready to go on it. Not that I was expecting it, but I had just exited another profitable trade, so it was already on my screens. I hit the buy button. I could not find on my chart on the active trader where the price even was. It was moving so fast. I saw the profit and loss at $12,000 in a second. And I just said, okay, done, we're out, sell. And I sold, I made $10,000 in 47 seconds. Now, imagine being on the wrong side of that trade.
Yeah. Ouch.
That's the risk you run. I mean, imagine you got up to get a cup of coffee. That was my portion, my 10,000 there. It was only a $68 run in that. Wow. It ran $260 before it stopped. Wow. Again, imagine being on the wrong side of that. So futures, a lot of people trade them. They can be exceedingly risky, and there is no limit to the losses. If you're not paying attention, watching it every second, you can lose everything.
Yeah. Yeah. I found that there's a lot of emotion in those trades, and you have to watch the chart nonstop. Did you have anything else to cover on the indicator, Dave?
No, I didn't have any questions. Do we have any questions from the group?
We just had a question about where it's located, and so I was going to go ahead and show everyone where that is. Okay. Let me go ahead and share my screen here. Okay, there we go. So if we go to FAQ and member contribution right here, you're going to get this screen, and there is a Thinkorswim section right here. If we click on that, over here on the right, you're going to see Dave's commentary about this indicator that you just had a look at. And you'll also have a link to the indicator here and some other folks commenting on it. And so that's where you get it. So with that, Dave, I think we're going to wrap. Thanks for showing us this indicator. Thanks for putting it together and all the clearly thought you put into this and making those labels match like that. That was awesome.
Happy to do it. Happy to do it. But more importantly, everybody go out and make it your own. That's why I designed it the way I did. Make it your own indicator.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, thanks again, Dave. I'll see you on the next one.
Sounds great. Everybody have a great weekend.
You too.
Classes in session. Yeah, we're all outliers too. Grab your coffee, fire up the chart. 10 over 20, that's how we start. No panic trades, no gambler's path. Just like the turtles, we trust the math. Deep in the data, the signal's true. Save time, make money with less risk too. This isn't luck, it's what we do. Follow